Hello, we're Next Century Sourcing, and our project focuses on improving sustainability in the furniture industry. So this is our team. We are a team of designers that are concerned about environmental issues on the current furniture industry. We'll run you through our 4D model from discover to deliver. We'll start off with discover. There's an increase in awareness, demand, and regulations towards the toxicity in products as consumers are looking for a healthier lifestyle. We have conducted interviews, consumers and manufacturer surveys, attended several trade shows to get a better understanding of the industry at large. Out of the 3,842 furniture manufacturers in the US, 65% are small manufacturers, showing that it is a very fragmented market with opportunities to target smaller manufacturers. There's a huge market for eco-friendly furniture, with a projected global market of $59.8 billion. Our furniture is compromising our health. These are some of the most common toxic chemicals that can be found in our furniture.
Yes, foam is made out of chemicals.
Vocational forest takes the brunt of those human health impacts. Exposure to spray adhesive, glues, and upholstery, exposure to dust that has phthalates and flame retardants, and all of these big nasties that we do know scientifically exist as foam breaks down and things like that. There's a whole human element there that they're not even being taken care of.
The millennials, the baby boomers were key, and then the millennials there's a huge sect of the country that's about to be having kids for the first time. And nobody in their right mind is going to want to have their newborn rolling around on something that could be potentially carcinogenic. But nothing's going to change the majority of the country's mind unless there's data to support that.
So this brings us to our research question. How can we advance the adoption of innovative, sustainable materials in order to make the industry greener and more resilient? Our project is targeting Global Goals 3, good health and well-being, specifically on goal number 3.9, reducing number of death and illness from hazardous chemicals, pollution, and contamination. SDG 4, quality education, specifically on 4.7, ensuring that all learners acquire the knowledge and skills needed to promote sustainable development and lifestyle. SDG 8, decent work and economic growth, specifically on 8.2, achieving high levels of economic productivity through technological innovation. And lastly, SDG 12, responsible consumption and production, specifically on target 12.6, encouraging companies to adopt sustainable practice and to integrate sustainability information into the reporting cycle.
About our insight and opportunities. Our research insight shows innovation can help mitigate climate change and the logistic risks. U.S. manufacturers need to train their staff in using new and sustainable materials. Furniture design student has lacked access to innovative materials. Smaller manufacturers struggle to source sustainable materials and meet minimum order requirements. As we can already tell, there's a big gap between the innovation and actual implementation. There is increased U.S. regulation on the furniture industry, which presents the opportunity to utilize sustainable materials in order to not only comply with this regulation, but also set furniture manufacturer up for the next generation of design. So this picture shows the inner structure of what current sofa look like. Several of these materials contain the toxic chemicals, as Stephanie mentioned before. We've designed a sustainable sofa structures by replacing traditional harmful materials with eco-friendly alternatives. While price may vary, customers are willing to pay up to 15% more for sustainable products. Investing in sustainable furniture offers manufacturers long-term benefits, such as resilience to trend, market difference, and the increased profitability over time. The gap between materials innovation and the market include, firstly, high development cost, including the research investment and testing cost, which is not friendly for the smaller manufacturers. Secondly, existing materials and technology occupy the majority of the market, which makes it difficult for new materials to establish. Thirdly, there is a very limited understanding of innovative material for both customer and manufacturers. Lastly, the lacking of collaboration between the innovation of materials and the education of people and market to realize the appearance and advantage of the new materials.
The industry is really thirsty for actual change implementation beyond just like good networking groups. They start down a trajectory, figure out what's missing, begin to do their research, figure out how to fund the research, and get hooked up with an academic institution that kind of connects you to the end user. And then that's where that exchange sort of happens. So there seems to be less of that ironed out in like the design world.
Cool. So the thing is like, how do we take a group of young-minded people like yourself, develop a strategy where we educate people somehow on what real sustainability is?
So that video sets up the need for education for both furniture manufacturers and design students. The opportunities for design education and material adoption include supporting design students to apply sustainability into their product development, also networking with material manufacturers and giving design students a greater understanding of sustainable material options that exist in order for them to implement it into their work. So the current leader on sustainability in the furniture industry is Sustainable Furnishings Council. They are an organization of a few hundred members who provide memberships for manufacturers and designers to network, along with giving scorecards and rankings for sustainability initiatives and basic education on sustainability. However, a lot more could be done in order to really facilitate sustainability and give more benefits for members. The competitor landscape for material sourcing varies. So Mindful Materials is a nonprofit organization focused on education for architects and designers about building materials, and they've developed a common materials framework. However, they're mainly focused on designers and architects of built spaces and less on furniture materials. Material Connection is a material library and consultancy that works across many industries. They are not really focused on education, but more about sourcing, and they have very high membership fees and subscription services. And then Material Bank is a consolidated material platform that helps represent companies and really consolidate the material sourcing process. So this brings us to our theory of change, which is to provide access, connection, and education to furniture manufacturers through material innovation awareness, along with giving students education so that it empowers them to design the next generation of furniture.
Which brings us to the implementation and partnership. We're planning to launch as a venture of the Sustainable Furnishings Council, working to offer sustainability consulting, material acceleration, and education to the furniture industry. Our mission is to bridge the gap between material innovation and furniture manufacturing by advancing the adoption of innovative, sustainable materials in order to make the industry overall greener and more resilient. Our operations are designed as a multi-layered platform to develop and provide easier access to sustainable materials, starting with our material accelerator, and we're product sales reps, basically, providing representation to creators of sustainable, innovative materials and connecting them with manufacturers. We really want to become the go-to-market bridge for material scientists and anyone who's really made something cool and wants to profit from their material inventions. Secondly, sustainability consulting. We want to help lessen the burden of sourcing for manufacturers and help them develop strategies to future-proof their business and production in the face of climate change and other disruptors facing the industry. And then in phase 2, we're really focused on the third phase of our operations, which is the educational component. Getting these materials into the hands of the next generation of furniture makers and designers, and that would be conducting workshops and supplemental programming for vocational and trade schools to augment a curriculum that's currently very traditional. Accordingly, our sources of revenue are diversified owing to our multi-tiered operations. We're profiting from our sales commissions. She spoke a minute ago about bulk orders. A lot of furniture manufacturers who are inclined to adopt sustainable materials currently face like steep minimum order requirements that kind of is a roadblock. So we would be placing bulk orders and kind of helping to facilitate that. We would also be charging a premium membership fee within SFC to avail their, at least half their current members of our services. And then finally, our workshop and consulting fees in the education part.
So our potential innovative material partners that we've already identified through connections and research include sources for upholstery materials, along with alternatives to foam adhesives, to foams and water-based adhesives, all of which can be used in upholstered furniture. And again, our implementation partner would be the Sustainable Furnishings Council. They're already the industry leader on sustainability education, and they would be our parent company who would help support our initiatives and would just give us greater access to the furniture manufacturing industry. And then we would align with the common materials framework and bring that thinking to the furniture industry. And then we would partner with design schools like Pratt, along with vocational programs like Catawba, in order to provide students with education and sources and access to sustainable material alternatives.
So our platform and activation, we have designed this lovely website, which you're all welcome to scan the QR code. It outlines our partnership with the Sustainable Furnishings Council, our sustainability goals, and it has a lot of free resources, including articles we've written about sustainable materials and a way to contact us.
So our marketing and promotions consists of several in-person activations, specifically at trade shows like High Point Market, where industry leaders are already gathered and SFC already hosts many events, along with, of course, digital advertising and social media, email and newsletters to really get the education out there in a free and accessible way, and lunch and learn events where there's in-factory training where manufacturers get to work with the materials and learn about it from the material innovators.
So our budget. In the first year of our operations, we anticipate a gross profit of $635,000 with expenses totaling $430,000 or so. Net profit would be about $153,000, which represents a 21.7% operating margin. The first year's profit would then be used to implement phase 2 of our operations, which is the material education component. The phase 2 budget includes a salary for one paid material science engineer with a background in upholstery manufacturing, who would head up our educational programs and visit trade schools and factory floors to give demonstrations and instructions in the usage of various materials. So in the short term, our impact is we would expect that a quarter of all of the materials that we help launch would be successful and gain commissions with large manufacturers. About half of SFC's existing members would sign up for this premium level of membership access, which would avail them to more of our services. And then fully, like 75% of the students that at partnering institutions would sign up for this AP curriculum in sustainability. In the long term, our triple bottom line impact, we're looking at better health, improved health for manufacturing staff, communities around the factories and manufacturing facilities, and of course, end users. upskilled workforce, furniture apprentices and designers gain knowledge working with cutting edge innovation and new materials, decent work and economic growth, advocating for and capitalizing on material innovation leads to better industry standards and ensures the industry is resilient and sustained. And it decouples economic growth from environmental degradation. And then finally, responsible consumption and production is really focused on making sustainable sourcing the norm in the furniture industry.
So further application and research that would be needed in order to fully implement a program like this would really be what an education and curriculum would look like under material learning, along with additional research on additional material sources and supplier connections. And we'd like to dedicate this presentation to the legacy of Cisco, leader in sustainability and a founding member of SFC. And thank you to our advisor Dyanis and everyone who advised us along the way.